Are you a business looking for a fresh new way to reach potential customers? Well, you need to get airtime on IT TV, a 24/7 streaming and on-demand TV service online and on Roku. With Roku having a potential reach of 62 million people, it's a perfect opportunity to reach potential customers through affordable commercial and infomercial spots. Visit us online today at itnetwork.tv.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am your host, Sharifa Hardy, and welcome to the Roundtable Talk Show. We have an incredible show for you today. And as always, I like to remind people that it is Friday and only the good Lord knows what I'm going to say on Friday. But tune in because it's going to be fun, it's going to be entertaining, and it is going to be educational. We talk to business owners, entrepreneurs, artists, authors, so many different people. So go ahead and share this show with your friends because, hey, friends don't let friends miss out on the Roundtable Talk Show. And today we have queens, we have vixens. It's going to be a great conversation. So I want to go ahead and introduce my very first guest, Miss Lanika Shelley. Lanika is best known as the Bounce Back Queen. Good morning, Lanika. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. Hi, everyone. I am doing wonderful.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? And what are you passionate about?
My name is Lanika Nichelle. Everyone calls me Shelly. I'm known as the Bounce Back Queen. Um, I'm a motivational speaker, author. I write children's books. I have a new children's book that's out called Christine Makes Good Choices. I'm a mentor. I'm an entrepreneur. I do a little bit of everything. I like to say I wear many hats, but they all fit.
Wow, wow, wow. I am definitely impressed. We're going to learn a little bit more about your hats, Miss Bounce Back. But I want to go ahead and introduce our next guest. Alexandra is a brand and visibility coach who, over the last decade, has supported thousands of passionate and mission driven entrepreneurs. Good morning, Alexandra. How are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm so excited to be here. My second time, Sharifa. So I love this opportunity. It's so amazing to always be here among amazing women. And I love that you said we've got queens, we've got vixens. Yes, I love supporting especially passionate, mission-driven women entrepreneurs. Yes, to be the vixen or the queen of their business, of their life, so that we can really make a difference. I think that when I talk about being mission driven, it's about having a cause or a purpose or a calling that you're so passionate about, and helping to share that message with the world so that we can make a difference, bigger difference in the world, make that dent in the universe. So that's what I'm passionate about, and I love supporting other women to help them do that as well.
Wonderful, Alexandra. So I'm so happy to have you both here. But one of the things that's interesting to me is that you both stood up, you took on the name Queen, you took on the name Vixens. And most people will be like, I don't know if you can call yourself that, or I don't know why you would call yourself that. Now, Shelly, let us know, how did you come up with the Bounce Back Queen?
Well, actually, I earned my name, first of all. I have been through it all from being taken away from my mom to sexual assault in a teen mom to I was blind at 15 for a month. I had brain surgery 3 years ago and just setting up to gray have it again on the 16th of November. So anything that I have gone through, especially since I've been down South Carolina, I'm from Baltimore. So my friends and family call me and be like, "Oh, Shelly, is everything okay?" And I always jokingly be like, "Yeah, because y'all know I'm the bounce back queen." And over the pandemic, I was like, you know what? I am the bounce back queen, and it just stuck. And I've named myself the bounce back queen, and I've been her ever since.
Now, have you ever received any pushback or anyone who said, okay, are you a queen? Who made you a queen? Who gave you the title of queen?
No, because once people get to know me and know my story, they be like, "Okay, you are the bounce back queen. You earned that name. You earned that name."
Yes, absolutely. And Alexandra, what about being visibility vixens? What are visibility vixens?
Yeah, so let me just go back a few decades, I had really bad, debilitating fear of public speaking. This, what we're doing now, would not have been possible. I just had so much trauma about speaking in public, and sorry for using the T word, but I just had a lot of. It was just debilitating. And so over the years, I worked on being seen, getting heard, sharing my voice. And I was in the corporate world, and when I left, I about 10 years ago, I actually, it's now going on 11 years. I really had to figure out, how am I going to be the lead of my business? How am I going to be the billboard of my business if I'm afraid of being seen? If I'm afraid of public speaking? And so I went on this journey of trying to figure out, how can I do that, different tools. And over the last year, I've been developing a women's community, support community for women entrepreneurs. And visibility vixens came to me in a visualization that I did. I try to be really connected to God always, and always just I want my business really connected to spirit, and that's what came to me. And so what's interesting though is that there's the word vixens, right? A vixen is a woman who's fierce, who's unapologetic, who is okay being seen and heard. And I want to be the lead vixen for the visibility vixens, but I really want to show and to be an example, a role model, that no matter what's happened in the past, we can step up, we can shine, and we can share our message. Because for me, it's about making the impact and being unapologetic about sharing our mission and message. That's what Vixens is all about.
Okay. No, I definitely love your definition. But in the past, do you feel that vixens have just been seen as women who use their sex appeal to get ahead or to get what they want? And a lot of women will say we're trying to get away from that image of just being sexy, women, and more into our heads and our brains. What would you say, Alexandra?
Absolutely. There's always going to be somebody that's not going to resonate with it.
Mhm.
And to that, I say, those are not my people.
Mhm.
And this, for any woman, for anyone who is creating a business, it's okay to not appease everybody. It's okay not to have your brand or your business resonate with everyone. Because somebody looks at visibility vixens or a vixen and is like, I don't want to be that. They're not my people. And in fact, I attract women of all ages, women, actually, interestingly, a lot of older women who actually are really, really attracted to this idea of being unapologetically fierce, because they didn't get that growing up. We were told, right? Like it's like your children are not meant to be heard, but seen, or vice versa, whatever it is.
Are meant to be seen and not heard.
Yeah, that's it, right? So it's like, it's hard to share our voice. A lot of women, especially, we grew up with this idea of like, we have to be very soft, or and of course that's not true across the board. There is women that grew up being super loud, and that's okay. And by the way, my family is Cuban, and so we have a tendency to be loud too. So just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, absolutely, it's okay. It's okay. Just like with Shelley being queen, somebody might not resonate with that, or we've had to deal with so much imposter syndrome, the who am I to do that just like Shelley said, we earn our name, we earn the title because we're out there doing the thing.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Now, Miss Shelley, have you ever suffered from imposter syndrome?
Oh, of course. Of course. I mean, it's always, I think naturally, I'm a person who I think I'm my biggest critic. So I'm like, harder on myself than what somebody else would be. And then I'm a Virgo. So I like things to be I like things to be in order. I don't like to mess up. So, in my mind, I just, it's like, am I taking on too much? And can I do this? Can I, am I going to be able to pull this off? And sometimes you don't always get the support that you want. And that could be frustrating, but you have to believe in yourself and know that nonetheless, you are meant to do what you're doing. And eventually, the people who need to hear it will hear it.
Was there a certain way, a certain method, a certain technique that you used in order to get to that point or get out of the imposter syndrome?
Well, I like to think of myself at one of my hats is a life cheerleader.
Okay.
And I teach people how to cheer for themselves. And I form this thing called the art of bouncing back, where it's nothing that you can't get through. There's nothing that you can't overcome. But it starts with your thinking. Of course, actions have to follow that, but it really starts with yourself. So sometimes I'll stand and look in the mirror for like a good 5 minutes,
Mhm.
because if you're not comfortable with you, if you're not comfortable with yourself, other people, you can't expect for others to do the same. So I take that time for Shelly with Shelly so that, Shelly can be okay being Shelly, no matter what, and no matter who says what and who doesn't like it and who has an issue with it.
I love that. So you stood in the mirror for 5 minutes. I know during some of my most trying times, I would look in the mirror and I would talk to myself and I would say, Sharifa, God loves you and I love you. And if no one else in the world loves you, that's enough. And then what I found during that time period is that I would just add people onto that list. It would be like your parents love you, your mom loves you, your dad loves you, your kids love you. And then all of a sudden I had like a scroll of people who love you. But sometimes it does take staring in the mirror, looking yourself eye to eye, and saying that if it's no one else in the world, I'm enough.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to. And that like I said, it starts with your thinking.
Mhm.
If you start to train your mind and to believing in your own self, you
Mhm.
got to, know that no matter what, like I said, you are meant to do, Sharifa, my theory. I think we all got challenges, gifts and talents, and a purpose.
Mhm.
And you got to find your purpose and you got to walk in your purpose no matter what, no matter who doesn't like it and who doesn't understand it at first. They will eventually catch on. But it got to start with you.
Mhm. Yes, I definitely agree. Alexandra, what are your thoughts on the conversation?
Oh my gosh, amen. Amen to everything that Shelly has said. Imposter syndrome is something I've definitely suffered with my most of my life. It
Mhm.
was really only the last couple of years that I even felt comfortable speaking, really. And even to this day, of course, I get nervous. I do have the once in a while the who am I to thoughts, for
Mhm.
sure. And I think that it's important. I love, Shelley, what you said about the looking at yourself in the mirror, because I think that there's a semblance there of like self-love that's so important, is seeing your, in fact, I have little notes that I put, and one of the notes that I have like on my computer and on my desk is about making sure that I have I'm cognizant of that self-love. Because
Mhm.
if love is at the center, and that includes love for yourself, then everything else is just going to flow. Then there's going to be those good intentions. And if I'm afraid of speaking in public or sharing my message because of what others might think of me, then not only do I lose, do I suffer, but my audience suffers. The people that I can be supporting, the people that I can be helping are losing. Let's say the potential income that I earn from my business, where I can be giving a percentage to the causes that I love and I care about, they lose too. It's like a lose-lose all around. And so really doing the work, the inner work, which I think is super important for any entrepreneur, especially, but everyone. I think we all need to do the inner work to really make sure that love is at the center, and that is, of course, our own self love.
No, I think that's beautiful. But just looking at you, just listening to you, I can't even imagine a time when you weren't this Alexandra. What were some of the ways and techniques, and what are some of the things that you did to go from being the person you were to the person you are today?
Mm, yes. So I did. I in those early days, I was aware. I was
Mhm.
very aware that there was this challenge that I had, which was the speaking. And I also, it was an intention of mine to break through it, to
Okay.
bust through those blocks and barriers. So that was really in the early days. And then once I got out there, like I had no choice when I was an entrepreneur that I had to do it. So that it became a priority. So some of the tools that I did really in the early days, I did hypnosis. So I had hypnosis done on me. The hypnotist suggested that I do improvised acting, which I had hated doing before. So that really got me out of my shell a little bit more, even though I had been a performer growing up. But improv is very different than having a script that you're acting. And so, and other tools, healing tools and healing modalities. I actually am now an intuitive healer, energy healer. I guess I've always been, and I think we all have those abilities. But now I use those tools before speaking to potential clients, before speaking in front of in front of big audiences, and whenever I feel that anxiety and nervousness. So anything that you do to help get you out of that state, because I think it's a shift in your state. Music, dancing, meditation, those are ways to shift your state so that you get out of that fight or flight mode and really more into your heart, getting back into that heart, that love center that we were talking about a bit ago.
Okay, so you mentioned using one of those tools before speaking. Are there any quick tips that you can show us that someone can use if they're feeling a little nervous before speaking?
Absolutely. Okay, so I like to say music, movement, and meditation. So let's just go with meditation. So as simple as, we think like, oh, meditation's so hard, but it can be as simple as just taking 3 slow, deep breaths. So you're welcome to do it, and anybody in the audience listening is welcome to do that as well. So I invite you to close your eyes and just for a moment, try to calm your body by taking a slow inhale in through the nose and slowly exhale. And take another slow inhale in through the nose. Slowly exhale. And one last inhale in through the nose. And exhale. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And that really just calmed and centered me, right? So, and that was maybe 30 seconds?
Yes, if that. I feel refreshed. I feel like I'm ready on the day.
Simple thing you can do. Even like let's say you're about to do a TED Talk. You can just close your eyes when you're on the wing. Close your eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths. It will definitely center you. So that was the first, the meditation. Music. So I love to have a hype song. If you can have a hype song, and I hear music in my head, so I'm constantly playing the music in my head. But if you have a great hype song before you go on something, you can be listening to it, or you can be thinking about it or singing it in your head. Music is great. And then movement. So what I love is dancing. Dancing includes music and movement, and it's just fun. Yeah, it gets your body moving. You release some endorphins. Really helps to like shake out the nerves. Tony Robbins has you do like a power move, a stance that really helps to to put you into a state, into a higher state. So anything that you can do to really shift the state is going to help you to really to lower that anxiety in that moment and really get you prepared, right? As I just did that right now, I'm a dancer. I was a dancer for many years. It just helps me like put your shoulders back and just be ready, right? So all of that, those 3 things are quick tips that you can do a minute or 2 before going on stage or before you're speaking or before even having a talk or a pitch with a client or a prospect.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Shelly, do you do any of that? Do you do the music, the movement, and the meditation?
Well, in the morning, I love to listen to my music to get me up after I meditate. But before I like go on a show or do speaking, I have a bad A list. So I didn't know how I could say the word. So, because sometimes you forget just how much of a bad A you are. And you need that reminder. So you make that list and you think of all the things. Because one might think, I didn't do anything, but once you get back to thinking and you start writing the list, you be like, dang, I did this, and I did this, and I did this, and I did this. So The theory is, if you read it, that reminds you that if you can go through all those things, you can do this show, you can do that talk, you can do whatever it is that you're destined to do. You can do it. So sometimes you need a little reminder. So that's one, that's like my go-to before I keep it by my computer. It's like before I do anything, I get that list. You can do this, Shelly. You got this.
So do you still get nervous, or do you still need the list whenever you speak?
I still use my list from time to time. At first starting out, I used it for everything, but I still use my list because, especially days where, like it's rainy, it's gloomy. Sometimes certain things just makes your body feel naturally. So
Right.
sometimes you need that. It's showtime. It's that pick me up because I don't drink coffee or anything. So
I don't either. Can you imagine? Got me bouncing off the walls. No, so I definitely understand. So your A list, bad A list, is what picks you up when you are down on rainy, gloomy days.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. Now you just took a new step. We talked a little bit about it, but your new book is out. Talk a little bit about your book.
It is a children's book. It's called Christine Makes Good Choices.
Hmm.
My birth daughter name is Daimoni Christine. So she's the Christine in the book.
Okay.
And all of my kids, birth and bonus babies, besides my oldest son, is in the book. And
Okay.
the pictures of them are, kind of replicas of when they were younger. And it's a book about bullying and friendship and making good choices and doing what's right even when it's hard to. So I
Mhm.
figured that if I can teach children to do that, maybe in a few years we'll have less adults that still don't know how to do that.
No, I love it. I love it. But what was your motivation to you say, you know what, I have to write a book? Was it a particular bullying incident or something that stood out?
Well, no, I love children. I love children. I actually have another one coming out soon. It's called My Big Beautiful Blended Family.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to create books for children that aren't typical.
Hmm.
It's not typical that you see one. Um, Gramsci's Babies. I'm currently writing that one about people who grandparents raise them or have to step in, whether your mom's in the military or incarcerated, or your mom passed away, or she is a flight attendant and she works all the time. No matter what the situation is, sometimes grandparents have to step in. And I was, when I got taken away, my grandmom stepped in.
Hmm.
So I want to create books for children that children can relate to, for topics that people typically don't talk about and don't shed light on.
Hmm. Do you feel that it's more bullying in 2021 than in previous years? So many people say with the invention of the internet and social media, bullying has become, 20 times, 10 times worse than it's ever been.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Because what we have now is, the internet gangsters. We have the people who can hide behind the computer or their phone or wherever, and they can give you a fake name and put up somebody else's picture, and you never even know who's really talking.
Hmm.
And they have these things called trolls, where what they do is specifically go out and try to make people mad and
Hmm.
try to bring people down. And if you're not in a good headspace, it could get to you. If you're not centered with your own self and comfortable with your own self, it could really get to you because everybody's not going to like everything that you do. But yes, bullying is at an all-time high. In school, adults do it on the internet. It's just all over the place. I think it's more popular now for bad. In this world, it's more popular to be bad and to do bad things than it is to do good. And that's the other reason why I wanted to remind children to make good choices.
Yes, absolutely. Alexandra, what are your thoughts? I know this is not necessarily the one of your areas, but on bullying these days.
But it reminded me so much as I'm growing my social channels, and I mentioned a little bit ago that I'm to you, Sharifa, that I'm building a YouTube channel for my one of my shows, and you see the trolls on those channels. And just like Shelley said, I find that sometimes it brings out my insecurities. It's like the thing I was worried about, they're trolling me about. I was like, how did this happen? Right? Like, it could be like a law of attraction thing, right? Like I was putting out this weird energy. I attract the troll that gives me that same message. So it's just really interesting. But one thing that Shelley said that it made me think of how important it is then as adults that we really be those role models. And how important, because if adults are doing it, how can we expect kids that are developing, how can we expect them to be at the standard or higher if adults are doing it? And so we as adults, as parents, have to be those role models. And so, but I love the idea of Shelley that you're saying of bringing those books to kids, that stories that are not typical, stories that need to be heard, that need to be shared, because the messages are there's such a range nowadays. And I just love that we can share those messages and help somebody, because if one of the children that reads your book, if just one story helps one child to either not bully another child or maybe raise their awareness so that they can maybe have a little bit of a higher self-esteem so that they can deal with the bullying, well then, we might have saved a child. So yes. I think if one child is saved, it's all worth it.
Absolutely. So what are some of the good choices that the book recommends? You got to read the book. We don't want to give it all away. But what are some of the good choices that are made?
Well, a lot of it has to deal with Christine not having a good day at all. And her mom tells her to make good choices every single day before school. And Christine is just having a terrible day. And she has to remember that still thing in her head says, even when you're not, you have to, defend other people and do what's right. And you be the example. If everybody else is doing something wrong, it's okay for you to be the example. I just wanted, like when I grew up, we had books and TV shows and things about morals, not just cute little characters and and not knocking them. I'm just saying it's enough cute little characters and little songs and things that you sing to that's really pointless. I want something with some morals where I'll be like, okay, now what was that about? What did you learn from that? what was it that you learned? And this book has a few morals in it. So that was important that each book I wanted to have a moral at the end. That's the other thing. To restore that like I had growing up. I missed that, you'd be like, oh, I learned something. Like what did we used to have? The after school specials.
Yes. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to watch all those after school specials. That's really the motivation for me to start ITTV, intellectual television, content that makes you think, because I felt like there was so much on TV that just lowers your IQ. I definitely believe in entertainment. I love to have a good time. I love to have fun. But from everything that I do, including the Roundtable Talk Show, I want people to watch it and enjoy it, but to learn something that they can take away and that they can teach other people. So excellent point. We're going to stop right now for a brief commercial break, and then we will be right back.
You need jordansrooter.com. Get free estimates, 24-hour service, special discounts for seniors and veterans. That's jordansrooter.com. Have a home repair or some remodeling you need done? No problem. We can handle all that too. Give us a call today at 800-300-0358. At Jordan's Rooter, we take pride in our work and always make sure to get the job done right the first time. That's jordansrooter.com. We want to be your Mr. Fix-It.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
a good business consultant.
And I kept searching and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list. But I finally did it.
Yes. Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well, look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine. Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend. Problem gone. Thank you.
If you are just now tuning in to the Roundtable Talk Show, you have missed a wonderful first half hour of this show with Alexandra and Lanika Shelley, the bounce back queen, and Alexandra, who is ahead of Visibility Vixens. You want to go ahead and watch this show from the beginning because we've had a great time. I wanted to go over to you, Alexandra, after the commercial break. Can you tell us a little bit more about Visibility Vixens and some of the things that you offer?
Absolutely. Yes, so as I mentioned in before the break, Visibility Vixens is something that came from, I believe it's divinely inspired, really because of my journey, my story of having this debilitating fear of speaking, of sharing my message, of stepping into the spotlight, and yet it's something that I've known that I need to do. And so Visibility Vixens was born from this idea of me being a coach and supporting other women entrepreneurs to share their mission and message. Also, all of that fear that comes up, the resistance to being in the spotlight, the resistance to speaking in any platform, or even speaking to prospects. Some people resist that sales. And so how can we show up in a bigger way? And so when this was like divinely inspired, when it came to me, it just felt so right that this community, it's not just a community, it's also a program where we work through a lot of these issues that we were talking about a little bit ago, how to be seen, how to be heard, imposter syndrome, while also adding strategies to actually help you build your business, build your brand. For me, what's cool about branding is that it's all about what I call your unique ability. What makes you unique? What sets you apart? Which for me also includes things like your mission, your superpower, your genius zone. All of those things combined and your story. Forgot that one. That's super important because just your story alone makes you unique. You can be anything, any profession in the world, but just your story makes you unique from anybody else in that profession. So really owning it. I think it's like owning your unique ability, owning your mission, your calling, your message, and then finding ways to help support the women in this community to really share that message in a bigger way. And that's what Visibility Vixens is.
Oh, I love it. Walk me through it. So when I go to Visibility Vixens, am I assigned a coach? What is the process? Because I think that's what our viewers would like to know.
Sure, yes. So currently it's a group program with an opportunity to also have coaching, one-to-one coaching. And so I'll say the coaching for a moment. But with the group program, we get together every month to three main areas. One is educate, learn, get information that's really going to help you to elevate your brand, elevate the tools that you need to learn the strategies for actually getting your brand, getting your message out to the world. So that's one of the sessions that we have. The other session that we have is about networking, masterminding, and support, because that is huge, especially as women entrepreneurs. We need support. It's like we're in these silos. We're so many times, and this happens to me, it's happened to my clients, and it's happened to colleagues of mine. We're by ourselves, and it's like many of us who work from home, we're like, okay, I have nobody here to support me, not even in my own environment. And so this is a community of global change makers, women who really want to be seen, and so and heard and share their message. And so we support each other in that way. And the masterminding is important too, because I have resources, I have knowledge that can support somebody else in the group and vice versa. So the masterminding is super important. And then the third piece is really about just being inspired to be bigger, be greater, to step out into the world. And with that comes also uncovering any blocks. Like I mentioned before, the tools that I use as an intuitive healer and as a coach, I help people to really help to remove those blocks, work through those blocks so that we can get that stuff out of the way and just be our bad A self, as Shelly was saying earlier, but really be the vixen in our own life and in our business. And so there's a group component, and then there's a one-to-one coaching component. And right now, as the lead Vixen, I am doing the one-to-one coaching for anyone who needs a little extra hand-holding to create a customized plan and needs that support to get to that next level. And as I grow and develop, though, Sharif, I love that you said is a coach assigned, because I absolutely have a plan to have team members, other coaches who have gone through the Vixens, the Visibility Vixens platform, to be able to support other coaches. And so as I grow and as the community grows, I can't clone myself at this moment. There's no cloning capabilities. So my clone, so to speak, will be other coaches that I'll hire to help support. But thank you for asking about that, because I think I love one-to-one coaching, and the group support is also is a form of coaching and accountability as well.
No, I love that, because one of the things I used to always say is that I went to work so I can speak to my coworkers, just so I can have lunch, just so I can catch up, just so I can find out who was doing what, whose birthday was coming up, who left who's with who. I just love talking to people. I did more talking than work, which is why I now don't have a job. But no, I love it, because as an entrepreneur, we always feel alone. Like we're the only one who's going through it. We don't have anyone to help us figure this out. Even today, and I've been working from home, working for myself for a long time. I still sometimes wish I could be like, okay, well, let me run this by, the marketing department or the sales department or the finance department to make sure it's the best thing. But a lot of times it's up to me to figure out everything on my own. Do you ever experience that, Shelly?
Yes, I feel like a one-man band all the time.
A one-man band. You playing the tambourine, the drums, the guitar, singing the songs.
You got to play it all. And of course, it would be nice to have that help, but it's finding the right help, because sometimes I try to get my teenagers to help me, and they just don't do it right. And I guess that's the Virgo in me. Is like, I could do it myself. Never mind. Just let me do it. But I love that. I love that she's a healer. That, that just spoke to me that, you're out here healing people. That is awesome. I just wanted to say that is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Shelly. Because and this is something I feel like I've always known that I was a healer. And at the same time, when I first became a coach, I really wanted to help people as a coach to grow their businesses. And there were certain things I kept on noticing that were stopping my clients from getting to that next level, that were standing in the way. And I thought it was me. I really took it on myself to take responsibility for the results. And but as I started to learn more of these tools, and then I started to learn the tools myself, I realized I can help people to heal some of the things that they've been carrying from the past, and also things that are just coming up as normal life happens. And once we can remove those blocks, then everything just flows so much easier. Even if you get the same results, imagine like all the resistance. If you can just remove a lot of that resistance, the process will be so much more fun, right?
I like that.
Even if you make the $100,000, let's just say it's $100,000 is the goal. And if you get the same, like within 6 months, you get to the $100,000 within the 6 months. Even if it's the same exact amount of time, but one is with like kicking and screaming and resistance and so much anxiety and stress, or just doing it knowing that this is your calling and you're having fun doing it, and it just, everything is just so much light. Which one do we want to do, right? Same result, right. But there's a state of mind that's associated with either one. And if we could just do it easier, it will just flow so much better.
No, I agree. But so often when you go to people, healers, and you talk about healing the wounds of the past, people who want to feed their families right now, start their business right now, get funding for their business right now, don't have the time and the energy to focus on what happened when they were in the 2nd grade, or, somebody bullied them when they were in the 8th grade. They're like, I have to fix this situation right now. How are you able to work with the past as well as bring people up to speed so that they can get what they need right now, here in the moment?
Wonderful question. So interestingly, the healing modality that I use primarily, we don't need to know what's happened in the past.
Okay.
So
I
there's
like that.
definitely a place for talk therapy. For example, I've gone through therapy, encourage it when necessary. And there's other healers that do talk about specifically things in the past. I actually am most interested in what's happening to you right now that's stopping
Right.
you. And a lot of times, yes, there is something that happened in the past that's unearthed in the process, but the modality that I use can actually heal things right now, what's going on right now, without even having to know what's happened in the past. And what's beautiful is that it's going to heal the thing that's happening now and the thing that's held you back from the past.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, yes, sometimes it comes up and sometimes we don't even need to know. In fact, the story that we tell ourselves about our experience from the past is sometimes what is the thing that's holding us back. Is
Hmm.
that story, the pain, the guilt, the shame. Sometimes that is the thing itself. The story holding on so tightly to that is what can hold us back. So I'm a big proponent to therapy and other forms of going through what's had in the past. And also, there's tools out there now that we don't even need to get into all of that.
Yes.
I I have a little different approach because I believe that it's a piece of you that every time something happened to you at whatever age, it's still a piece of you that's still that age. So I like to go back with my clients so that way we can deal with whatever they have going on that might be blocking them if that is the case. But that is, amazing that you can get through to people without them going back to their past traumas. That's amazing.
What are some of the
It's an
areas that
intuitive
you?
process. I am sorry, Sharif, but
No,
it's
no,
an
go ahead.
intuitive process. And so sometimes, depending on how long I'm working with somebody on a specific issue, if I'm called to go to the past, like I actually love connecting the dots, and I like going into like, okay, what happened to me when I was 4? I like connecting the dots, and I like to see the things from the past. And I'm just making the point that it's not necessary to
Mhm.
heal all the time. So if it's called upon me to go into like into the past and get into what happened and help the person connect the dots, I can do that. And again, not necessary all the time.
Understand. Shelly, what are some of the areas that you work with your clients on?
Well, I people come to me to all different things. So I have had childhood trauma. I've had time management, um, divorce, handling, a divorce, bouncing back. People come to me for things that they want to learn how to bounce back from. And
Oh,
sometimes it's not what they think. And what I always have this one lady that's going to stand out to me. Um, she came to me for what she thought was time management. And really, she disliked the fact that people got on her at work. Like that was a problem for her, that people would get on her at work. And if they say something about her time, it would just frustrate her. So we had to dig to feel like, back to see why was that bothering you? Where did that come from? And it turned out that her father was very strict and hard on all of them about time and being very militant to do this, and she just could not put this together. But once we started going back, then she seen once we dealt with that, she could better grasp it was a reaction because she never dealt with that. Anytime anybody you say anything to her about time, she's flipping, and it's like that's not a a natural response. Like it's not that serious. Let's see what's going on here. So sometimes people come to you or they think they coming to you for one thing, and then that's not what they're coming to you for. You end up uncovering something else. And that's the real reason that they're coming to you.
well, I'm coming to you because I know I need help with time management. I don't know if it came from the past or the future or wherever it came from, but I'm one of those people who get up 2 hours early or have plenty of time to do whatever I have to do. And then I just get distracted. And I know there are easy answers and easy ways to simply say, well, don't get distracted. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's always something with me that I always have plenty of time and then I rush. What are some of your time management techniques?
Well, preparation.
Mhm.
Preparation is one. You got to think ahead. This is what I tell my kids. Like they have been picking out their clothes for the whole week for as long as I can remember. Of course,
Mhm.
now as they're teenagers, not so much. But it's like if I say do your have tos before your want tos.
I like
So if you know that you have to do A, B, and C, but you really want to do X, Y, and Z, how about we take care of A, B, and C, get that out the way, make you a list so that way you can stay organized, knock those out the park. And then look, you have all this free time to do whatever it is you want to do. But when you try to jumble it all together, oftentimes who's going to really stop to go? It's like when a kid is potty training and they're playing and they're having fun playing and they know they got to go to the bathroom, but it's like I'm just gonna sit here anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you have to do your have to's first. Take care of your have to's before your want to's, and you will have more time for your want to's actually.
Okay, but I'm gonna give you a prime example. This is real life. This just happened to me. So we produced our first show. I'm so excited. Build my brand for ITTV last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So the week prior to producing this show, because I'm the host of this show, I went shopping. I have some clothes. I bought new clothes, and we were shooting 5 days, so I lined them up for the whole week, Monday through Friday. This is what I'm going to wear. Now, Monday I wore the outfit. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I didn't want to wear what I picked out because I always feel like, I'm not feeling this. Like I laid it out, but I'm not feeling this outfit. And so guess what happens? I'm rushing and I'm running late because now I'm trying to figure out what else to wear besides what I had already picked out. Am I the only one who has to feel like that outfit the day of? Is
You
it just
know,
me?
I try mine's on beforehand.
Mm-hmm. I did
That
all.
way I already know, because sometimes I do that. Sometimes you get in your head and you be like, you know what, I'm gonna put this together, I'm gonna wear them shoes and I'm gonna wear this with it. And then once you put it on, you be like, not so much. I don't like this. So I try my stuff on beforehand so that way I can already know whether I'm feeling this or not feeling it. So that way it's not last minute and I'm just figuring out I don't like this.
Mm, I might
Or
have.
or
Mhm.
you can have a backup.
Oh, I got closets full of backup. Alexandra.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I actually do the same thing, Sharif, but sometimes I'll pick things out in advance and then it can even be just going out, right?
Hmm.
Just going out with friends. And I pick something out in advance and I'm about to go and it's like, oh no, like it doesn't look good or just not feeling it. But I love that tip, Shelly, about trying it on in advance and then having a backup. That is I'm gonna incorporate that tip immediately. So thank you for that. Great tip.
No
Backup,
worries.
backups. Backup is upon redundancy. I think that's the key to success in so many different things. I love it. I want to go back to your book, Shelley. Christine Makes Good Choices, right? And
Yes.
I wanted to go back, but it was a question for, even though we're going back to Shelley's book, I wanted to go back to something Alexandra said. So it's a question for you, Alexandra, about the trolls. Because I meant to ask you earlier, and you said that you have this YouTube channel, you have this show on YouTube, and the trolls are attacking you. And so often what we say is, you know what, if you don't have haters, if you don't have trolls, it means you're not doing anything, that nobody's not taking any kind of notice. But sometimes that's easier said than done. How do you actually in real life deal with the bullies and deal with the trolls?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I was a publicist also for many years. And there's that whole saying of like, even bad publicity, like any publicity is good publicity. So there's definitely this sense of like, you've made it, even if you've got this bad publicity or you've got these trolls or you've got this, this negative feedback. It's, of course, it's so difficult because a lot of times these people that are trolling, come at you, and it's you can take it really personally.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is that they talk about your show or they don't like the content, but a lot of times they go really deep, or not deep, but it cuts deep because it's a really personal thing. They might say something about your weight or your look, or yeah, sometimes. And again, actually, I find good feedback, even if it could be trollish, could be they didn't like the topic. That's actually feedback that might be constructive for me to know for the future. But when it starts getting into like some of those personal things, yeah, it can be really difficult to accept that and really have to like rise above it. So some of the things that I've done personally is heal it. So as it comes up, I'll heal it, and it's interesting that Shelly, even though we might have different approaches to how we work with the clients, I think it's always comes back to there's an underlying cause that we get to look at. And so if I'm getting a trollish comment about my weight, well, to me, I call it a mirror moment. I see it as an opportunity to say, okay, what is that reflecting back to me that I get to look at in myself? A lot of times it's self-worth stuff, things, and I mentioned self-love a while back. And as you work through self-love, that self-worth is going to build as well. And so I think that's so important to continue to do that self-love work and the inner work to build our inner confidence, inner love, and inner peace, so that when we get those trollish comments, we can let them slide like it's no big deal.
But it still hurts. I'm just saying, I think the trolls need to stop it. They need to knock it off because it's not nice. And somebody should have read them. Christine makes good choices so that they behave. You know what I mean? Because the trolls, they're trolls because it's just petty. You know what I mean? They're not talking about the conversation. Yeah. They're talking about, look at her hair, that hair's out of place, or, look at her eyes and her eye. It's just like, oh my God, like focus on the show.
Let me share a quick story. One of the first times I got a trollish comment was a video that I posted, and I was feeling insecure about my hair. Mm-hmm. And I get a lot of compliments about my hair. So I'm not really insecure about my hair, but it was a video that I didn't like. And it was a comment made about my hair looking messy or something. And it was just interesting because I was like, wait a second, that was my insecurity. And somebody came right at me about that specific thing. And that's what I was saying. It's just interesting that sometimes we can attract those things that really get into our own insecurities. And it's an opportunity for us to learn and grow. Back to the trolls though, if we go with like that self-love, we can also extend love outward to them as well. This is really taking a high road, high moral compass, stance. And what would Jesus do? I think it would be sending love back to those trolls and haters.
Absolutely. What do you do? How do you deal with them, Shelly?
I struggle with stuff like that. I have to not say nothing because what I would have to tell them wouldn't be nice. So I have to just stay away and ignore them and know that person don't know me. Mm-hmm. They don't know me. You can't care about what they say. So I'm always, and this is something I tell my kids, like if somebody be like, oh, your mother, like that's the thing, to say, that's the comeback in the hood, or the kids to say, okay, and your mother. But they don't know your mother. They don't really know, they don't know me. Don't take offense to that, because once you do, if you take offense to it, you're going to set your emotions and your feelings is going to set in and you're going to react irrational. I know I will. So that's why I have to detach my emotions just totally out of it. Because, people will talk about, like I'm a darker skinned, heavy set girl. So, they'll talk about everything and, or be like, oh, that ain't her hair and all. I don't pay none of that no attention. You can't, because it settles in. Like I look at the positivity and I'm always reminded of somebody that says, you know what, I needed to see this. And that's why I do it. And that's the important part. So I let the important part outweigh the negative part. But you always going to have those negative people who are negative within themselves and they're unhappy within themselves. And that's why they're lashing out. trying to take other people down with them. That's their whole reason. They just want some attention and I don't give it to them.
Well, you good, because I am the clap back queen. That's me. I'm known for clapping back. You want some attention? I'm gonna give you all the attention in the world. I'm gonna shine the spotlight on you and everything. So I love it. This has been a wonderful show, a wonderful conversation that I've truly enjoyed. Now, what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today. And we're going to start with you, Alexandra.
Yeah, I just like to say that I mentioned this a few times today, how important it is to do the inner work, to really to reflect on your life, on your goals, on your mission, and do the inner work that is going to help you to cut through the barriers, the blocks, the things standing in your own way. Because I feel like we're the ones standing in our own way, and do that necessary work so that you can live your dream. You can, if you want to step into the spotlight and share your message and help millions or billions of people, you can do that because you've done the work to really elevate yourself. So I think that inner work is so important. And I just want you to know also that wherever you are in the process is perfect. And every opportunity is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to be better. That's what I wanted to say, Sharifa.
And where can people find more information about you?
You can go to my website. It's alexandrafigueredo.com. And I do have a challenge coming up. For anyone, it's a 5-day challenge for anyone who wants to create amazing content and step into the spotlight and stand out online. And you can find that also at alexandrafigueredo.com.
Thank you. And what do you have for us, Shelly?
I wanted to say that I want people to put good into the world and remember that you have a purpose, karma is real, and just try to support each other. Like, I want to say shout out to David Shans and my podcast group, because they have, since they found out about my upcoming surgery, they really have rallied around me, and that means so much to me. I have a podcast coming out, the Everything Show with the Bounce Back Queen. So I just want people to follow your dreams, follow your heart, do what's right. And I wish you guys nothing but love, success, and no stress.
Where can people find more information about you?
I have a website. It's www.thebouncebackqueen.com. I'm also on Instagram as @TheRealBounceBackQueen and @TheBounceBackQueen on Facebook.
Wow, this has been an incredible show. Incredible show. I would love to thank both of you ladies for being guests on today's episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. And I especially want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives. But I just ask that you support our guests, visit their websites. Their links are in the description box below. Follow them on social media, reach out to them, send them a message. And when you do, please let them know Sharifa Hardy says hi. Now, if you're interested in more ways that I can help your business, or maybe you want to be a guest on the Roundtable Talk Show, please visit my website at asksharifa.com. Until Monday morning. Have a blessed weekend. Until Monday morning at 8 a.m., everyone stay safe and be blessed. Bye now.